Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buckeye Politics. It's me, your favorite Ohioan. Yesterday, we made the governor's prediction, updated governor's prediction for October, and today on Halloween, happy Halloween, by the way, we are making a Senate prediction. So, not going to waste any more of your time. Let's fill in the safe Republican states: Idaho, Utah, North and South Dakota, all of the Appalachian South, South Carolina, and Iowa and Florida. Iowa's going to be safe because Chuck Grassley is running. Uh, Obviously, it's going to be safe. So, because Chuck Grassley is running, he will probably win by 25, 30 points. Easy win there. And Florida, we have Marco Rubio, who will be running most likely. And he won by 8 points back in 2016. And now that Florida is even more of a red-leaning state, he'll probably have no issues winning by a safe margin. Safe Democrat states include the entire West Coast, Hawaii, Illinois, the Northeast. Although Maryland could be interesting if Larry Hogan runs for Senate in Maryland. Just a month or so ago, that was kind of just a meme, but he might actually run for Senate in Maryland, and that would be very interesting to see what would happen there. Because there was a poll that came out a few years ago that if Larry Hogan ran for Senate, he would the race was pretty much tied. I think he was only down by like a point or something. So that could be very interesting. We'll keep an eye on Maryland and Larry Hogan. So with that, we have pretty much 45 safe Republican seats and 45 safe Democrat seats. We're gonna fill in. Let's see. Let's go west to east. We're gonna start in the great state of Alaska. Likely are. Alaska is just gonna be interesting because of their ranked choice voting and the challenger to Lisa Murkowski in Kelly Shibaka. So yeah, it's gonna be. The Republican will definitely win in Alaska, probably, maybe not even by a likely margin. I'm just putting it as likely because really we don't know what's going to happen there. And it'll probably be by a likely margin, actually, just because there will most likely be some sort of primary challenger. If Murkowski loses, she might launch a write-in campaign, which would make the state much closer. And even if Murkowski wins the primary, there will probably be a lot of Republicans who don't turn out for her. So Alaska will go red. It just, margin might be kind of iffy. The state of Nevada, I'm going to put that in the Tilt R column. Catherine Cortez Masto is relatively popular, I guess, but she also is very vulnerable. Nevada is a red trending state. The Democratic Socialists of America taking over the state party. Depending on their messaging, that could easily be a Republican flip up for the GOP. So yeah, Catherine Cortez Masto is much more vulnerable than people think, and in a really good year, which is projected to happen, is with all the trends with Biden underwater and Republicans doing very well. And I do think the Republicans should be able to win Nevada, no problem. Arizona, putting that in the lean R column. Now, a lot of people were questioning this on my time-lapse video, so let me explain why I have Arizona going lean to tilt R. I'm putting it as lean R because of the national environment. Mark Kelly is a national hero. He went to space. He ran a very good campaign in a swing state against a horrible Republican in Martha McSally, and he barely outperformed Biden. It was still a very close race. It should not have been that close. Mark Kelly should have won Arizona by, looking back, he should have won Arizona by a much larger margin than he did. And when you have some really good Republicans such as Blake Masters who are running decent campaigns, and the Republican Party of Arizona, who's doing an excellent job at, because Mark Kelly, when he ran in his narrow victory, he claimed to be a moderate, a centrist, but you have fellow Arizona Senator Kristen Sinema, who is getting much more attention for her center of the aisle beliefs and her moderatism. So Mark Kelly, compared to Kristen Sinema, does seem pretty far left, and the Republican Party of Arizona is doing a great job of promoting this. Is it true? But but you gotta do what you gotta do to win. And Mark Kelly is certainly not a moderate. I don't know, he's not far left, but he's certainly not a moderate. And the Republican Party of Arizona is doing a great job at exploiting that. And with a good an actual good Republican candidate in Blake Masters, Mark Kelly could be very vulnerable, especially with the way Biden's approval rating is going. The state of Colorado, putting that as likely D. Not much to say about Colorado. Pretty much a blue trending state. Probably next cycle, maybe 2 cycles from now, it'll just be safe D with Illinois and Oregon and all the other states. But right now, it's likely D. Republicans, if they get a good nominee, they could make it a little bit closer. But really, I don't see much else changing. The state of Wisconsin. Ron Johnson has not yet announced, but even and if he does announce, he'll probably win by close to a likely margin, especially with the way the national environment's looking. But even if he doesn't, I expect any Republican who runs his semi-good campaign to win by about a point or two. Wisconsin's an R-trending state, obviously. 2020 is probably the last time it'll go blue on pretty much any major level, presidential level. It'll pretty much should be an automatic pickup in 2024. Uh, Senate and governorship, obviously, in 2022 might be a little iffy depending on candidates and stuff. But right now, with Biden underwater and some decent Republicans who are running, with Ron Johnson, obviously he'll win. But even with another Republican, they just get a decent candidate and who can appeal to the driftless area and to the traditional Republican suburbs of Milwaukee and the WoW counties. The Republicans should have no issue winning Wisconsin by a lean margin, possibly likely with Ron Johnson, but I'd say lean right now. My great state of Ohio is going to be likely R. We have a very crowded primary. I don't think Trump's going to make an endorsement in the Republican primary, but we'll have to see. Tim Ryan is pretty much the only major Democrat in the race, and he's going to do probably a little bit better than most Democrats, but he's no Sherrod Brown, and even Sherrod Brown probably isn't going to win re-election in 2024. So Tim Ryan and Democrats in Ohio could it be a little closer depending on the nominee? Yes, obviously Josh Mandel versus Tim Ryan, Ohio would probably be lean R, maybe barely likely. It would just really depend. But really, J.D. Vance, Jane Timken, any Republican except for Josh Mandel taking on Tim Ryan should be able to win relatively handily. Keyword relatively handily. Now, looking at the state of Georgia. Georgia is, I'm going to put that as tilt R. Governorship, Georgia is pretty much doomed unless David Perdue gets the nomination. If David Perdue somehow gets in, then I think he would have a good shot at possibly keeping it red. It'd be much closer. But if Brian Kemp's the nominee for governor, Georgia's gone. Senate level, I think, is a little different. Herschel Walker is a very good candidate. He hasn't lived in the state of Georgia for a long time, but he's still very popular there. He will get the rural turnout skyrocketing. He may improve with some suburban Atlanta with some suburbanites in Atlanta because depending on how he runs his campaign, it'll be interesting to see if he's more of a Trumpian, like full-on Trumpian candidate, sort of like a maybe Josh Mandel type, but obviously not as extreme and not as big of a simp for Trump, or if he'll run more of a moderate campaign, maybe like obviously a conservative campaign. It's made it very clear he's running as a conservative, but more of like TPUSA compared to an American Populist Union campaign. See if he'll try to play the race card. That'll be interesting to see what he does there. We should keep an eye on Georgia, but right now with national environment and trends, Biden completely disapproved of. Trump was in Atlanta last night, and he did the tomahawk chop. That was pretty awesome. So yeah, I do think that, and people seem to be into it. So yeah, I think that Georgia is not gone for the GOP at the Senate level in 2022. Presidential in 2024 it will be very interesting, and governor in 2022, both 2022 and 2024, I would say Georgia's on the verge of being gone. There's still some hope, but it's on the verge of being gone. Senate, however, with Herschel Walker should be no issue in terms of making a competitive, good race that Herschel Walker should be able to win. Looking at the state of North Carolina, that's lean, if not likely R. Ted Budd got the Trump nomination, and at first everyone was saying, "Oh, that's it. That's the race." But Ted Budd really has not done as well as most candidates do when they get the Trump nomination. So that'd be interesting to see if he possibly loses the primary, even with a Trump nomination. I still think Ted Budd is going to win the primary just because Trump's nomination support does go a long way in the Republican Party and with the Republican base. But the fact that he really hasn't improved much in polls can make North Carolina a very interesting race. No matter what, I think a Republican will win there. Pretty much any state that went red in 2020, any state that went red in 2020 has virtually no chance of flipping in 2022. That's how I see it. So with that, North Carolina will probably be lean, if not likely are. Probably a 3-4 point victory. Hopefully that we'll have a good candidate, and yeah, North Carolina should be a Republican win. Pennsylvania, gonna put that as tilt R. Sean Parnell should be able to get a good against Connor Lamb. I'd say that's the most likely option because John Fetterman has kind of lost a bit of steam because of some scandals. And he's also just lost steam in general because he's not that great of a candidate. I'm not sure why people think he's going to win. But a Connor Lamb versus Sean Parnell, that would be a very interesting matchup that I do think Sean Parnell would be able to win. Just because he's more of a... Sean Parnell is obviously a Republican, so in a red wave year, he'd obviously have national environment on his side, but he's also more of a better fit for Pennsylvania, in my opinion. Connor Lamb has had some interesting results, and Sean Parnell kind of has too, but yeah, with Pennsylvania being an R-trending state and Sean Parnell being a more populist Republican, he should have no issues winning Pennsylvania. Save New Hampshire. New Hampshire is very interesting. Um, Chris Sununu has not yet announced, and obviously, if you watch the governor prediction, I had it as likely R. Obviously, if Sununu runs for governor, he'll win by like 20, 30 points. There's no question there. But it's likely R because there's still a chance he could run for the Senate. So if Chris Sununu runs for Senate in New Hampshire, it's lean, if not likely R, especially with national environment. So yeah, obviously, if Sununu runs for Senate, it's pretty much a guaranteed Republican flip-up. If he does not run, though, then I still think it's going to be red, but by a much slimmer margin. So I'm putting New Hampshire in the tilt R column as of now, simply because New Hampshire, Chris Sununu runs, he pretty much has the seat locked up. I don't think I've seen some people say Chris Sununu runs for Senate, he's going to win by like 10, 15 points. That's not going to happen, but he should win by about 5 or so, maybe give or take, depending on the national environment and his opponent. But if Chris Sununu doesn't run and someone like Kelly Ayotte runs, she could still make it very competitive and possibly win. New Hampshire was so super close in 2016, and it hates incumbents. So with Biden and there are Democrats having incumbents, people forget about that. The Democrat Biden and the Democrat senator there will be incumbents. So Kelly Ayotte could have a good shot at winning, even if if Chris Sununu doesn't run and Kelly Ayotte or some other Republicans the nominee, they should have little issues. New Hampshire should still be very competitive, and the Republicans should still have a good chance of picking it up. So with that, this is the 2022 Senate prediction as of October 31st, 2021. Happy Halloween. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.